Do you think it's possible to add and control 3D models in Adobe Premiere? The answer is right here. Watch this video to the end to learn how to do that, along with some helpful tips and tricks to improve your work process. Hi, my name is Dennis and welcome to I Like Effects channel. Usually here we talk about effects used in popular music videos and learn how to make them work in your own production. But today we'll learn how to add and control 3D models in Adobe Premiere. Adobe hasn't made it easy to import 3D models into Premiere, but I found a technique that might help you to do that. You don't need any additional or paid plugins, but I should mention right away that to use this technique you'll need to have Adobe After Effects. Fortunately, it's included with Adobe Creative Cloud, and even if you never opened it before, you shouldn't have any trouble with this technique. I respect your time, so let's get started. In Adobe Premiere, add your footage and create a new composition from it. You can do that by dragging the file to this icon. Next, go to the Project panel, click this button again and choose Adjustment Layer. You can leave it as it is and press OK. Now let's drag this layer onto our timeline and crop it to fit the duration of our clip. Then, right-click on it and choose Replace with After Effects Composition. Just give it a second to open. While it's opening, I want to mention one thing. Unfortunately, this option will only work if your Adobe After Effects version is 2024.2 or above. Older versions don't have this 3D integration. When After Effects is opened, you can see the same adjustment layer being transferred to the program. Click on an empty space in the Project panel and select Import File. I've already prepared a 3D file, so let's choose it. After you select the file, it will appear in the Project panel. Simply drag it onto the timeline over your footage. This notification is just a helper, so press OK. Next, you'll see a more important window where you can adjust the settings of the imported model. You can leave it as it is and select Make Comp Size to fit the model properly in your composition. I recommend going into the model's properties like Transform and bring the model closer to us on the Z-axis, so the quality of the model is better when we bring it to Adobe Premiere. Click on the Window tab and choose Essential Graphics. This will help us transfer settings from After Effects to Adobe Premiere. I'll mention right away that not all settings can be transferred to Premiere. However, parameters such as XYZ rotation and opacity are transferable. Let's click and drag each parameter onto the Essential Graphics panel to create a preset. We gotta name it, so let's call it, for example, Smiley Box. Now let's click on Export Motion Graphics Template button. You'll be asked if you want to save the project, so choose Yes. In this next menu, I usually don't make any changes, and after pressing the OK button, you'll see this message pop up. Click OK twice and save it. Let's get back to Premiere, and immediately through dynamic linking, we can see our model over our footage. We actually don't need this layer, so let's delete it and go to the Window panel and choose Essential Graphics. Now when the Essential Graphics panel is open and you can spot your preset, let's drag it onto the timeline and ensure it displays correctly. Okay, now we can go to the Effects tab and see how we can control the model directly from Adobe Premiere. And look, everything works. We can rotate the model along XYZ axis and also change its opacity. How cool is that? The major downside is that we can't set keyframes for these parameters. Next, let's animate this cube to make it look like it's flying and following my hand. Instead of tracking the hand, we'll manually demonstrate this technique for clarity. I'll speed up this video because it's very monotonous and consists of trials and errors. Basically what I'm doing is trying to adjust the timing of this object. And the coolest thing is that you can still change the angle of your model's rotation at any moment. We can set up frames for our layers rotation, and by combining this with the ability to control our model's graphic parameters from our preset, we can somewhat simulate a 3D rotation effect. Next, let's adjust the color correction for this 3D cube. I'll speed this video up as well. In the Effects panel, I'll select the VR Glow effect and adjust it to suit my needs. I'll also fine-tune the brightness and contrast. I'll apply the Lumetri color effect to match the color with the environment. You can see that the cube becomes a part of this footage now, which is exactly what we need. Finally, let's add my favorite effect, which is chromatic aberration. I think our box looks just great. Let's turn this box into the state that I hope you're now feeling. And that's how you add and control 3D models in Adobe Premiere. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. If you have any additional questions, write a comment below and I'll answer it. Remember, if it seems a bit tricky, it's always good to ask a professional for help. For top-notch visual effects and motion graphics, reach out to Motion Block. There, my talented colleagues and I produce eye-catching visuals. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next episode of I Like Effects. Cheers!